welcome back to another episode of Couple Moves Away. Today we're talking about gender roles.
Gender roles.
Couple moves away from understanding and establishing gender roles.
It's a hot topic. A lot of people have different opinions on who's going to stay home with the baby, who's going to pay the bills, who do we elevate first.
Right.
What was the other thing we talked about? Who calls the shots? Who makes the final call in the house? And then submission defined. So a lot of people have different stances on this, and we're going to give you our take on it.
Yeah. So let's just kind of jump into maybe some of the dynamics of maybe our background, and you want to talk about maybe some previous experiences we've had
Sure.
and how that's kind of led here.
Definitely.
Okay. You want to
I'll go first. So I was married before. I was young. You know, Mexicans, we get married young. I was married young, but so a very different take for what people would think stereotypically I would have lived. I was actually the main breadwinner in that relationship. You know, we both went into it like we're a team, and then circumstances took place, and before you knew it, I was on tour making pretty good money, and he lost his job and didn't kind of, to my standards, make enough effort to like get back into the workforce. So at that time, I was the one that was holding the house down, on the road working, and I was taking care of his child support, and which, not a complaint. At that time, we're married, and that's what we do, right? We hold each other down. In hindsight, I, for about 3 years, carried that relationship, and he started a business without my knowing, without
Wow.
yeah, without communicating, which good for you. Like, you took the initiative, but some shit is, you got to communicate some stuff, you know, because before I knew it, he had kind of run the business to the ground. And he told me that it was, when I learned about it, was when he was in debt. Like, I think we were like, 15K in debt.
Which is a lot back then.
Which is a lot at any point. 15K is a lot of money, but back then, specifically when you're in your 20s, it's a lot of freaking money. And so I thought we had a plan. I was on the road. I was on a 6-month contract. I was going to make X amount of money, almost like $1,000 in 6 months. We were going to come back at a house. Half a 100,000. So almost like 50K, a little bit over that in 6 months, which is a lot of money again at 22. And he was 8 years older than me. So I'm like, great, like we're going to go get a house and start our life off. So at any rate, all that to say that in that relationship, the roles were a little bit reversed. I was the one paying the bills, didn't mind. I was holding him down. I thought we had a vision, we had a goal. And so to me, it doesn't matter who is carrying the weight. I thought, were working towards a goal.
So who called the shots in that relationship?
Because I'm Mexican and because I was still young and I was raised to kind of be submissive, I still let him kind of call the bigger shots. I never, even though I was making most of the money, I never was the woman to like throw it in his face, or I'm the one with the money, so what I say goes. I still kind of gave him like reverence. I still kind of was submissive, but there was some things I definitely took a hard stance on because I did pay the bills, such as the only thing that I really kind of felt passionate about that time was we were going through child support custody battles with his ex. So in those instances, I was like really making sure you're going to hear what I have to say, because it benefits both of us and the child, but also because I literally am the one that's shouldering these funds, you know, when it came to some of those mediation agreements. But outside of that, I kind of let the man lead. Has
that been like, when you look back at your other relationships prior, is that kind of been the staple? Like you've kind of naturally submitted to?
Yeah, I think again, it's cultural. I will say there were times in hindsight, many of those times I really shouldn't have been submissive. Not that I have a problem with submission. I think it's beautiful, we'll talk about that. It's a beautiful, powerful thing for a woman to be an alpha woman, to be submissive to an alpha male. But I think at my young age, I hadn't quite recognized, hey, I'm submitting to someone that doesn't really understand or have my best interest or can really lead or steer this ship. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Similar. I mean, you know, when I was younger, I think I consider myself an alpha male. I think anyone who describes me would describe me as such.
Mm-hmm.
I've always called the shots, but I gotta admit, now that I'm older, I was kind of blind calling some shots. Now, even in those relationships, I would still say I probably should have still been the person that was calling the shots.
What do you mean by blind? Like you weren't uneducated,
I was
or
just not educated enough to really lead a family.
oh, well, you were young.
I was young.
Yeah.
And then in my marriage, she has an alpha personality. She has an alpha personality, and she had a lot to say, but she still kind of followed my lead quietly, which is crazy. Like, so she would speak up and things like that. But ultimately, if I'm like, I'm not doing that, I think I've always just been so bullheaded that I'm like, if I'm not doing it. I don't care what you are. Like, so she really didn't have a choice. But I think she probably needed to be in a relationship where she called all the shots. And that,
so she wasn't submissive.
she was still submissive, but but I think that didn't sit well with her natural character. I think that she was
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I don't speculate on prior relationships, but
In that relationship, then you were the shot caller, you were the main breadwinner, you were the
correct.
Okay.
Correct. So I was paying all the bills. She didn't work, and when she did work, I was just like, you keep all the pocket, all that.
Did you kind of flex that and throw that around? Like I pay the bills, so I call the shots, or
No.
or I call the shots because I'm a man, and because I'm a man, I pay the bills. Is that?
No, I think naturally I've always just been like, yo, I'm the man of my house, so I'm gonna make sure the bills get paid. Ultimately, it always falls on my shoulders, which we'll talk about later. To that point, I think in that particular relationship, I called the shot. What I realized through lots of therapy was I realized that I minimized her opinion because she was not financially contributing. So she would have ideas, some of which probably would have saved my ass sometimes. But I would be like, I don't want to hear that shit. Like, I'm the one that pays all the bills. I make all the money. Like, how are you going to tell me where we should move the money, or how we should move the money, or what we should do? How can you tell me what to do with the money when you don't contribute a penny? I'm not necessarily saying, now that I'm more mature and more thought out, I'm not necessarily saying that was the right way, but I realized that was the reason why I was minimizing her, was because I felt like she didn't contribute.
And that's something we actually discovered when we first started dating. We first started dating, like you mentioned in a previous episode, you weren't making a lot of money. You were kind of coasting.
Who was?
You. Remember you said you had sold your business and you were...
Wait, hold on.
Hold on. You were going through a divorce.
I had bread when you met me.
No, hold on.
Let's just...
Excuse me. Yes, you had money, but you weren't making more money.
Generating money.
Yeah, you weren't generating money.
I was still 7 figures up.
He was. I'm not saying he had an L. I'm just no. I'm just saying.
You saw how she just tried to play
well, because
me?
hold on. Listen, I meet this guy who's a spin instructor, who's all these things, and it's LA. So I'm like, okay, you're a producer, you're a slash. Hold on.
I just choked my camera guy up.
He's over here dying.
She just tried to play me in front of national television.
No one's trying to play you, honey.
You definitely just tried to play me.
Cool. Our guy's literally cracking up.
It's cool. We got to pause because
we got to pause.
Our cameraman almost died.
Matt, you good?
She just tried to play. I was up 7 figures when I met her.
No, I didn't say you were broke. I just said you weren't making money.
That sounds like broke.
That's not. No, I would have said you were broke.
That's like saying you're not fat, but like you're
You're
not like losing weight at a very big pace.
Honey, I didn't say you were broke.
No,
I just said you weren't making money.
I know what you mean, but that sounds very broke.
So, okay, but you were coasting at the time.
I was.
So when I first met you, I to me, it's like I didn't know what you were or weren't doing. We weren't in that deep, so it didn't really matter in a way. I was kind of still, living the actor's life, so unemployed, waking up unemployed every day, kind of hustling, had little gigs here and there. I was on a TV show, I think, when you first met me. So my money would come and go. But at any rate, both independent at that time. And it's something that came up in our first few dates. Yeah. I remember, because I would find myself kind of going like, you do that a lot. Like you kind of brush off like my opinions, and it could have been about money or anything really. And so that's when you
called it out.
Yeah, I called it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I don't do well with that. I'm like, what is that? Like what is that? And then you told me that. You were like, I think it's because of my prior military, because of football, and because you're an alpha male. It was like those cultural influences just kind of teach you to be a lead and no one questions you. Whether or not that person had valid,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. I definitely think that started to play out when we first started dating.
Mm-hmm.
When we first started dating, I was still Well, here's the thing. I fiscally thought I was doing way better than her because she was a struggling actress, right? And I was living pretty good.
Yeah.
I was semi-retired. Like I thought I was just going to be retired for a while. Then we started talking about a prenup as we
Yeah.
started getting more and more serious.
And actually, I welcomed the conversation of a prenup.
And that's when I knew I better check what the fuck I'm talking about. Because if
I was-
any woman is like, yeah, we should get
I'm
a
like,
prenup.
we should get a prenup. I'm down, you know?
I'm like, and then that's when I found out you own the property I didn't know about.
I had a
and all
property.
that. Right. And I was like, oh, maybe we don't need no prenup. I might be able to get some shit up out of you.
Well, no, I mean, and we'll discuss that in a whole different conversation. But
Yeah.
nothing wrong with the prenup. I think that this society like makes that such a negative thing. It's really not. I think whatever someone's walking in with, let's just agree what it would be in case these things go south.
So,
but anyways,
so let's talk about like, gender roles and how they get defined. And because a lot of times, I think that a lot of people feel like it's the man and the man leads and the woman follows and all that. I mean, how do you feel about it? You believe that?
I was raised to believe that. From my experience and what I've seen in my culture was always negative for women, because I think a lot of abuse, a lot of physical, financial hostage, a lot of abuse and trauma came from men being the main breadwinner, and women would stay when it was unsafe for them to stay. So although I saw it and it was a norm, I didn't want that. I also never saw myself being the one and like calling the shots and berating and belittling men as a consequence, as like revenge, I kind of always felt there's got to be a balance here. So, and again, I've seen relationships work where the man or the woman can be the main breadwinner, but there still is the woman who has the ability to be submissive. And that kind of also balances things out a bit. So I see no issue. I think every relationship should be defined internally as whatever it needs to be that will work for them.
Agree.
And I don't really think that everyone has to subscribe to what society says.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. I think that a lot of times, I caution a lot of men out there to even, I talked to my best friend once, and I was telling him that he was like, man, I'm thinking about like, getting married, blah, 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 blah. And I just had a real conversation with him. And I said, man, marrying somebody is a huge responsibility as a man. And I caught a lot of flack online one time because there was a meme out there that was like, it was this little engagement ring. I'm talking about it had like a little bit of diamond dust.
I remember
on
that.
there.
Yeah.
And it was like, it wasn't even a diamond. It was just little diamond dust. And it was like, if your man asked you to marry him with this, would you say yes? And the comments were going, and I said, hell no, you shouldn't.
He said no.
And people went berserk. Oh, so that's why guys get gold diggers and blah, 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 blah. It has nothing to do with the diamond. It has nothing.
The size of the diamond.
My wife sometimes wears that. She wears her just plain gold band. I don't care what she wears. My point in that I think a lot of people missed was, as a man, you have no business marrying a woman if you are not prepared for the responsibility of keeping that woman safe, fed, a roof over her head, as a provider. I'm a man who believes in providing as a man. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I have to make all the money. I think if you look at some celebrity couples, you look at like a Travis and who's Travis dating? Travis is
Courtney?
Kylie.
No, Courtney.
Travis and
Scott, yeah.
Travis Scott, Kylie. I don't know.
Kylie.
There's so many Travises in
Right.
K's. Okay.
Well, like, she got the bigger bag or whatever, but I guarantee when they go out, he can use his credit card to pay for the steak. He can use his card to pay for the mortgage. Now, maybe she wants 16 houses and she's super rich, so she can do that. But I still think as a man, you have to be ready to accept the responsibility of your family. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to make $1 million or no shit like that. But it also means that you should not there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, you know what? Listen, I love you. You love me. I think that we're going to go do great things together. Right now, I'm focused on getting to my bag. And I want you to marry me, but I want to be engaged to you properly. So let me knock out a couple things to put us in a good position. Let me set up my chessboard so that I can be a couple moves away from dominating this game.
And I think that's where women's emotions and maybe societal pressures and age and all these things kind of also start to play a factor in pressure in the opposite direction. I would have no problem with that. If I had a man who had a plan and who's communicating, hey, I want this with you, but is going to look like this. Yes, there's a risk because what if we grow apart in that year or two that it takes for you to elevate yourself and
Even
whatever?
better, we didn't spend the money on the wedding.
And that's my takeaway. That's my argument. Is like why would we not figure that out now before there's a lot of assets and super serious commitments versus later when there's possibly kids and things to distribute and it's a mess. So I've always been a firm believer in a long engagement. If someone really feels like we just have to make this commitment to make sure I feel secure and safe, have a long engagement.
Or even if you're like well off, you already got all your things, your ducks in a row.
Mm-hmm.
You already have all the things, the checks on your, nothing wrong. Then shorten the engagement if that's what you want to do.
Right.
You know, as long as you genuinely still are in the same position. So anyhow, you know, when you look at things like that, when you look at like the societal standards as a man, you have to be prepared for what it takes to hold down a family.
Now, let's just interject, right? So let's just say that, which is the other conversation, who do we elevate first? Let's say that, you know, the woman is the one who has traction and is kind of getting speed on her career.
Yeah.
You know, and the man isn't. What do we do there? Do we ask the man to stay home, help with the laundry and the cooking and the cleaning?
Absolutely. And if you're a man, you could still, if you're a man, first of all, this is one of my favorite comebacks whenever women on social media are like, a real man would, you know, I tell them two things. One, tell me how many days you spent in the life of a real man. And then two, you'll quickly find out that a real man, and sometimes even men do it. Men do it to men where they'll say, real man wears a Rolex, a real man. Let me tell you something. A real man doesn't give a fuck about anybody else's definition of him. That's all that defines a real man. When you get to a point where you no longer care what defines you, you are locked into what your vision for your life and your family is. I could be a hunter-gatherer. I could be wanting to live off the land and want my wife to do that. If that's how you're going to lead your family, you are a man. You are just as much of a man as a multi-billionaire who has all the money in the world to shower his family. A man is just someone who leads his family. So, you know, when you have those things and people are like, well, a real man would do this, I say, you know, you just have to do exactly what it is that you were called to do. Mm-hmm. I don't care if right now, if my wife, your new show is now streaming on Netflix. Y'all go check that out. Quick plug for Family Business
on Netflix.
On Netflix, y'all go check that out. Guess what? If she gets a call tomorrow and it's like, hey, we know that you're pregnant, but we need you to shoot a movie. Blockbuster, you're going to be an X-Men, the new X-Men. We're paying you 10 M's. I will be one dish doing, baby burping. I will take throw up on my chest every day if that's what it takes for my family. It doesn't mean it doesn't make me less of a man. It still means that I can still have the say as far as the direction of the family, which we'll talk about in a moment. Yeah, I think that if a woman has more motion, I think that's how we decide, whoever has the most motion. So if you're 10 credits away from your master's degree and I still haven't figured out what I want to do, I'm still a cashier at McDonald's. Well, which is nothing wrong with being a cashier at McDonald's. I actually was one a long time ago. But if that's what my life is, I need to just step aside for a minute and let you finish, let you get across that line. Now, I guess the question, though, is, and I think a lot of men are going to say this, is what happens once you hold someone down and then they just get Hollywood on you?
A lot of women have the same question. Yeah. What happens when which is very common because typically it's been the woman holding the man down, is that he does elevate himself and he meets somebody who he feels is now on his...
get on, he leave your asphalt.
White girl. I mean, yeah, like what, you know, it's a risk either way, right? But again, life is a risk. You could be married to somebody for 20 years and then wake up one day and say, this is not working, you know? So everything in life is a risk.
Yeah, but I tell people all the time, you know, that's just you can't go, man. Well, you know what, I did this.
You promised and you said, yeah.
No, you should have. Yeah, you loved the right way. Mm-hmm. You loved the wrong person because the right person would have done right by you once they got on. Mm-hmm. So I hate hearing when men or women say that they get scorned in a relationship. They catch the bad end of the stick and they go, never again. Why? You all you were doing was loving. You did it exactly any loving partner should do. There is a
stage where it's never again.
Yeah, of course.
And it's age. I'm not gonna lie. It's age related. Like when I was 20, I had no problem maybe wanting to hold you down or, you know, being less selective with where you were as a man in your life.
Hold me down.
Well, honey, we're different now. We're different now.
Y'all heard that?
Well, what I'm saying is this. What I'm
First she
saying.
called me
No,
broke.
hang on.
Now
No,
she said she ain't gonna hold me down. What's going on here?
I'm talking for just generally speaking.
Is
Listen,
this the breakup episode?
right? Netflix got to her head. No, because I have girlfriends who, as we grew up together, again, we by nature, women are nurturers. We are gonna provide and give and help elevate you and uplift you and support you. It's what we do as women, period. But at a certain age, it's exhausting. I have a girlfriend. We've talked about this, at some point we were like, you have to be way more selective with who you date. She's like, no, I don't want to seem superficial. I can't say that I want to date a man who has X amount of money. I'm like, why the fuck not? You
Right.
come in making X amount of money. You're grown. You have a career. You have a drama-free life. Why wouldn't you at least be able to fairly say, at least be at my level, if not more? She's like, well, I don't mind kind of building somebody up if they're not like at my level just yet. And I'm like, girl, we're in our 40s.
Right.
We ain't got time for that shit no more.
That's a great point.
You
That's
know?
that's a power move right there.
But that's a whole different conversation.
No,
right?
that's a now conversation.
That's a now conversation.
That's a
Okay.
now conversation
Yeah.
because that is definitely a huge point as far as gender roles go. Age plays a huge factor
It
into
does.
that. I think when you're young, I think it should almost be balanced. It's not necessarily a who's doing what. It's a we're just doing this together. We're trying to figure out.
We're figuring it out together.
But I can tell you this, ladies, and I'm gonna start some controversy. Go ahead and start your controversy right now in the comments. Let me tell you this,
It's
ladies.
about to be lit.
If you meet a man in his 40s and he ain't already on the path to the bag or got the bag, I'm not talking about slowly on his way. I'm talking about the momentum is clear as day to everybody around him.
And there's no number, guys.
Nope,
We're not
it's not a
talking
number.
about like rich or
It's not
whatever.
a number.
Just
So whatever the bag, if he's a hunter
stable.
gatherer,
Yeah.
if he just lives off the land, if he already don't know how to kill a lion with his bare hands, he ain't gonna figure it out next week. I guarantee you that. If you are 40 years old and you are still an aspiring SoundCloud rapper, it is a rap. If he is a promoter, it is a rap.
Mm-hmm.
He's
trying to
not
be a
not
YouTube
now
star.
listen, it doesn't mean before y'all go too crazy, I'm gonna have some rich promoter in my thing like, I bet you I got it in my okay, calm down. There are some promoters who are gonna do very well, but guess what? That's what he's gonna do. That's what he's going to do. If he's telling you he's going to go from there and become the CEO of Apple, it's not going to happen. It's the chances of it are as likely as you dying in a plane crash, probably. There's nothing wrong with selecting men who are at the level at which you aspire to live your life at whatever that age is. Now, fellas, let me bring it back for you
On the
before y'all
flip
get too
side,
crazy.
right? On the flip side, men can be equally as selective.
Right, 100%.
But that also sparks a different conversation that I'm sure I'll get
So if
some
I'm
shit
40,
for.
and I think that's well, hold on, let me ask you this question before
Okay.
we go there. I think that's the thing, right? I think that men, it's hard to, and I think that you start to see this a lot. Men start to become unfaithful right around the 40-year-old age and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it has to do a lot with they have finally gained their value. They finally have whatever that bag is. They're the greatest hunter-gatherer, right, in the tribe. And their women's selection goes through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
And now they have a woman who has maybe been holding them down.
Mm-hmm.
How does that role definition play out when he has decided to just swap you in for the newest model? Like how does a woman, I guess the question I'm asking is how does she still keep that value in today's society?
That's hard.
It's rough, huh?
That's hard. Only because her value never changed.
Yeah.
Her value never changed. It was his perception of her value that changed. So, and I think that's where women get caught up. We get caught up trying to like, well, what does that look like? And let me look more like that. And if he wants this, then let me be more like that. No, our value never changed. We never changed who we were. We were loyal. We were, respectful. Like that never changed. But because like you called it, you or the man has come into his own in this new, environment, whether he's now fit, whether he now has money, whether he now is feeling himself. And that's like a newfound value of himself or worth of himself that he didn't have before. Which number one, I think the woman would have seen that already. I think a woman who's tuned into her man would have known like,
He's going to be that.
you lack in this area and this could be a trap for you or a vulnerability for you. And would have probably called it out before. But again, typically, like you're right, in the 40s, men are kind of catching their strides, coming into their own as an adult man. And to your point, now you have these little 20-something-year-olds like, ooh, he grown, he's sophisticated, and let me get involved. And the woman, unfortunately, can't do anything. But we get caught up trying to. and we
Yeah.
lose our worth and our value trying to.
Right.
But unfortunately, that's not something we can change. It really has to be on the man to find his way back home.
Well, I think a lot of times you'll see men of high value will always respect that woman anyway, because a guy who's got to his
LeBron
bag,
James. Look at people who have like a
Kendrick
lot of
Lamar,
opportunities.
Ludacris.
Yeah, who's the other? Stephen Curry.
Yeah.
All these people who are, I guess, high value or
Rich.
highly desired. Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever it
They're
is.
rich and famous.
Yeah, like there's a lot of women throwing themselves at them, but they're able to. Who knows in their privacy of their own homes how they get down, but they're able to at least maintain loyalty and respect to their partner.
And outside of this new ghetto era that's out there, I mean, I would even say to the ladies, I want you to go, if what you're aspiring for, and let me say this, guys too. I don't want to say
Guys
just the
too,
ladies, 'cause
honestly.
if what you're aspiring for is to date somebody who is of high value, which I just feel like that's a new term ever since the black guy.
It's a new term.
What's his name?
He passed away.
Kevin Samuel.
Yeah.
Kevin Samuels. So I think, it's a term that's been abused now ever since him. But when you're looking for somebody that's of high value, go look at them. Go look at the Mark Zuckerbergs, the Tim Cooks, the Elon Musk. Go look at them and then look at their partner.
And look at their life.
None of their partners got these super huge ass jobs and
Big ass lips.
They don't
fake,
have that.
Yeah.
Because you can't take that look at some of the ladies out there I'm talking about that are really in that bag. You know what I'm saying? Look at them. They're not walking around unless they're dating another entertainer. They're not walking around with the guy who got 35 gold chains and all the diamonds on and grills and all. No, Oprah she wants Stedman. Boring.
And that's the problem, is that we view it as boring, but it's really just peaceful.
That's what I was about to say.
Drama free.
Right.
It's consistent.
Right.
It's steady.
That's right.
It's reliable.
Right. Shout out to Stedman.
And I mean, if I may, and I'm just making a general comment here, but I feel like a lot of these women who do end up with these high value or these, rich or whatever, elevated men or whatever, like, I think they do all of that, the surgeries, the things to maybe make themselves feel like they bring something when they maybe don't. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for the things, anti-aging things. But, I just, when you get to be a far abstract version of who you were and you've lost sight of who you were as a woman, physically, mentally, emotionally, or otherwise, you can be easily swayed. And then it's like, what do you stand for? What do you bring to the table? What substance do you have? And another thing, when you see successful women, a lot of these women they care about their appearance, but they're not really caught up in those things. I'll tell you for myself, I rarely have time. I make a point for my nails and make a point for my lashes, but on a day-to-day, because I have to. I make time for my nails and for my eyelashes.
He's fine as hell.
But on the day-to-day, I don't have the time for the makeup and the hair and the getting ready and the things, because I'm busy. I got shit to do. I got a business to run. So when you're about something, it's hard for you to focus on the things that are not important.
Yeah.
Like the beauty and the fillers and the things, to try to attract something that you already busy doing something. Does that make sense?
Agreed. I think that, we have an opportunity, and I'll shift the focus back to our topic, but I think that there's an opportunity in whenever you're defining a role, gender roles, is first starting to establish, I guess all this rambling Karina and I have done is you need to establish who you are.
Who you are. And what you stand for.
What you stand for and what you're going to go look for. And so now you're in the relationship. And now there's time to define those roles. And so we've already talked about if one person is more ahead than the other, where do we go there? We've already talked about, so do you think it should always naturally be a man that's the shot caller of the relationship?
So I'm going to say something that, again, probably won't go very well. Yes.
You do?
I do. But, again, the right man. The right man for you. Because again, I have let other men lead me when I was married before, in my previous relationship. I've given them that position.
Autonomy.
Yeah, I've let them do what they should be doing. But the younger versions of myself, the less therapized versions of myself, didn't know what to ask, didn't really know what I was looking for, and just trusted that they had my best interest at heart and that they were leading us in the right direction. Oftentimes they weren't, but because I trusted so blindly, I was led into just smacking into a wall, and then kind of going 2 years later, like, whoa, I just spent 2 years with somebody that didn't know me, that didn't understand where I wanted out of life, you know? So, but to answer your question, yes, with the right partner who you know sees you, understands you, you have shared core values, non-negotiables. And that's kind of what you were mentioning earlier. You're like who you are. Knowing who you are, a relationship will take some compromise. There will be some flexibility, but it should never look so different than what you first started off thinking your life would look like.
Yeah.
Once you get super far off topic to your true self or what you saw for your life, you know, then you're going to be resentful. It's going to be,
unless it makes you happier. Where you're like, I didn't even know I wanted that life.
Right.
And I'm happy I'm here.
Yeah, but even me, Jay, like after I've learned a lot of things about like myself, flowers and the things, I'm still who I am.
Yeah.
I'm still very much so rooted in who I am.
Yeah.
Spirituality, my core values, my virtues. I've never compromised myself to be with you or anybody else.
Yeah.
I may have been silly in like thinking that, again, that they had my best interests. I was willing to kind of go with their flow. But even when I got to a point where I'm like, this is not who I am. I don't want to be this person. I don't want this life. I would find a way to get out. But to avoid heartaches and headaches and time spent, you know, yeah, knowing who you are, having clear conversations that are sometimes awkward, uncomfortable, and can be scary because what if I scare him away? It's too soon to have these talks. Fuck that. After a certain age, talk the talks, ask the questions. Because once you figure out,
I would go not even at a certain age, just period.
well, and yeah, but let's be real.
The sooner you can get to it, the better.
But let's be real. 21-year-olds aren't having those deep ass conversations.
They should.
They should, but they're 21.
Yeah,
they're having a good time.
Forget it.
So,
Too late.
too late. Fucking pregnancy brain. Hang on. I lost it.
Damn.
Pregnancy brain. It's okay.
Take a breath in between so I can at least try to interject.
Sorry.
Good points. My wife is in her third trimester and she forgets every damn thing, including that she had an alarm on.
I know.
So, you know, I will say this is when it comes to who should lead, I subscribe, and I think that I want it before I get anyone that's too aroused in the comments or anything like that, or that's watching this. I don't necessarily know if that's for all relationships. I'm saying that that's what's good for my relationship, and I'll explain why.
So I kind of got a little bit of my point back. I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
So the reason being, though, is because someone has to take the lead.
Yeah.
Like someone has to do it. I think in one of our sessions, the therapist had made an analogy. If we're on a mountain and we're trying to climb this mountain and there's a narrow road, right? We can't both be side by side walking up this hill. Someone has to take the lead. Maybe you get tired and you have to lay down for me to walk across you so I can take the lead because it's such a very narrow road. We can't both call the shots. We can't both be at the front line of all these things. So for me, again, the right man with discipline, who I know has good discipline, who I also know where your convictions lie. I know this man has a spiritual reverence. So free and clear of me. He has a God that he has a respect for. He has a discipline. He has a love of family. So way before I met him, I can see he loves his family. Now, every family's dysfunctional for sure, right? Mine included. But you see that this man keeps a relationship with his parents. He has 20 plus year friendships. These are things that people should be looking for. How consistent is this person? How stable is this person? Green flags. Yeah. Green flags. You know, so you can really get a good understanding of who this person is, free and clear of you. So this person can't sell you a dream, can't make you fall in love with his potential. You'll see who he or she is. From there, you feel more comfortable making lifelong decisions and building upon those blocks. So,
yeah. So I agree. I just completely agree. I think that in my particular relationship, being who I am, I would think that I'm the type of man who has to lead his family. And that means ultimately I take the responsibility. I want to frame this the right way because I don't want anyone to take it the wrong way. I have to take the responsibility for what happens to my family. Therefore, I will always make the final decision because I can live with whatever my final decision is. Now, That being said, I have found it very, very calming and easy in my marriage now to you, because I have a partner whom I can value what they're saying, because I feel like you're contributing, and I feel like there's no hidden agenda to whatever our life is to become. And so I've learned in my older age that whenever my wife is like, hey, you know what, I think you should do this, blah, 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 but do whatever you think you should do. Whenever I hear that I think you should, the weight that I put on that is as equal to my own thought.
But Jay, it's important too. You feel like there's some shared accountability, like there's equal investment and there's no hidden agenda, right?
Yep.
That part right there is where, if there's good communication, both of you would know. Both of you would know if you feel like, okay, she's really just here because she had to get out of her house, her parents' house.
Right.
She's really,
as soon as she get on, she leaving me.
He's really just here because he's going to medical school and I'm holding the house down. The kid, like, you guys have to understand, like, have all those things out on the table, again, however uncomfortable they may be. Because if you're feeling like your partner has a hidden agenda or is just there for a specific reason, then there's no real trust of loyalty.
Right.
In either direction.
Right.
But also, because there's shared accountability, whatever you feel, I'm going to feel.
Right.
I've never, I'm the first one to see, like, how can I help you? You're like, hey, I'm going to go build this wall. Can I help? So I think even that kind of shows you, oh, she's invested, and that's just an example, right? It could be financially, it could be, however, I'm contributing. But for me, on the flip side of that is, you're not an egotistical leader. You're not going to be like, I'm going left. Fuck what you said. I'm going to do me.
Yeah.
Because it's never been about you. It's been about us.
It's been about us.
So whenever I do say something, one, I'm very careful of what I say when I say it. I have many thoughts. I have ADHD. So I have to be very careful that I do. So I have to be very mindful of what even I present to make sure I've kind of like thought it over, make sure it kind of makes sense. And then I bring it to you. And then I know when I bring it to you, I have to also be okay knowing all I'm doing is presenting this.
Right.
I cannot say, you're going to do what I say. I'm going to say, honey, you're thinking about going left. Well, what if we went right and then this kind of happened? Or what if we went left and it looked like this? I have to let it go. Once I give it, I have to just let it go and trust that he'll make the decision that's going to always have coverage, protection, best interest of us.
Yeah. So I think that when you're making, the decisions as far as who's going to, what roles people are going to play, you have to take into account, one, you need to know if you know yourself, what you're looking for. Then I also think you need to evaluate your relationship, and can you trust that person 100% with your life? The reason why I feel comfortable making my decisions, because I feel like, and this is even to the males who may consider themselves beta males or maybe not as dominant males. I feel safe making the decisions I make, because I know that if I make a mistake, you won't crucify me for it. You will be understand. Even if I went against your judgment, you're not going to spike the ball on me. I think that is such a big thing in relationships. And I've been in some, as soon as we're not perfect, or the woman, whoever's leading, you're going to make mistakes. You're not going to make 100 of the calls right. And it feels good when you have a partner who can be like, okay, what did we learn from that? And
pay attention to the reaction to those little losses or little slip-ups, because that reveals a lot.
Yeah.
People will show themselves when you're failing.
Yeah.
So if I said, hey, honey, we should go right, and he goes left and he hits a wall, I can't be like, see, the fuck is wrong with you, stupid? If you would listen to me, no, I have to be, okay, honey, are you okay? Is your head okay? You need some ice? Okay, can we try to go right now and see how this looks? And vice versa, because you have to feel safe in your relationship. You have to feel like, okay, I didn't go left to purposely hurt myself. Right. I went left because he thought it was the right thing to do. For us. Okay, and he didn't, but we're in this together. So how do we recover, and how do we get back on track?
Yep. And I think that that's a huge thing. I think that a lot of times you'll have people who want to assume titles that they're not prepared for either. And I think that it happens more to males. Just because you're the man doesn't make you the leader.
Ego is a big thing. We all have ego. Women and men have ego, but
the male
predominantly
ego
is very strong and very fragile.
Right.
So a woman, I think, has to have enough power and sense to know how to handle that ego.
Agreed.
While still, catering to ours. Because I know I
Yeah.
I'm like, I know I'm right, but okay.
But I mean, I think that's the way that you start defining, where who plays what role.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, I think the last thing that I think I'll touch on this is understanding your partner's strengths. That's one that has taken me years to, I don't want to say see, I want to say
Understand?
just admit.
Oh, male ego.
Just admit, hey,
Speaking
maybe
of.
she's better than me at this. Maybe she sees this better than I do. Maybe, and as a man, especially one who wants to lead and wants to be, I don't necessarily wake up wanting you to be better at anything. I don't want you to make the bed better than me, but I have to understand, hey, she do make a mean ass bed, man.
I will say this too, because
But you don't make the bed better than
I
me.
don't. In our relationship,
Shout out to the military.
in our relationship, in any relationship, I think if you wake up with the mindset of I'm going to be right, I'm going to be the man or woman, you're already losing.
And in this point is that also you have
God.
to. It would definitely do you some great justice to dig down into your cultural upbringing and background, because there are a lot of things that are full of shit in minority cultures, and it holds you back.
It's conditioning for patriarchy, for women's submission, for, again, to continue to perpetuate certain abusive cycles.
Yeah, or even outside of that, like, when it comes, I remember my father. God, shout out to my dad. You guys will hear me talk about him a lot. It's because he's my ace, he's my guy. So you'll never hear me. I'm not bashing him, but my dad comes from a different generation. And my father said to me, he said, "Oh man, you dating you a Latina now? Huh?" This is when I first started dating her.
I remember this.
He said, "Oh, you dating you a Latina now, huh? Okay, son. I bet that. I bet she cooking up a storm over there, huh?" And I said, "She don't cook, Dad."
I burn water.
And he was like, you would have saw the look in my dad's face. He was like, "She what?" He was confused. He was like, "What do you mean she doesn't cook?" I was like, "No, she doesn't really cook. Like, she doesn't really, she can't throw down in the kitchen." And he was like, "What?" And he was like, well, he was so confused. And I told him, I said, "Dad, I'm trying to live a different life. I don't need a partner who can cook and clean and go help me farm, or to give me 6 children and take care of them so that they can help me farm. That's not the life that I want to live. I need a partner. I need someone who understands why I'm so stressed. I need someone who understands business, someone who understands, P&Ls and HR related things. I need someone who has that kind of mind." And my dad you'd have thought I was talking coding to my father, because he was just looking at me like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And he meant nothing wrong by it. It's just for him, he was like,
But he did bring it up during one of our first meets when I first met your parents.
Yeah.
He kind of was like, "So, Karina, so what's this that you don't cook?" I was like, I mean, I can make eggs and breakfast, but it's not what I do. I can cook if he wants me to. If he asks, I'll cook.
won't.
He won't. But it's not what I do. And again, for me, I was raised that if you don't cook, you won't get a husband. So I'm like, well, shit, I'm just not going to get a husband then, because I would rather go travel and make money and go do different, like you said, a different life than what my parents had.
And it's worked for us.
It's worked for us, though.
Yeah, because we have meal prep people that cook their ass off. We have a housekeeper.
A housekeeper who helps keep the house
And guess who
clean.
pays for all that?
We do.
We do.
We do. And so my mom later in life, because she's very traditional, very Mexican, later in life, she was the one that started pushing me when I was still single, making some money on my little shows and stuff. She was the first one to tell me, "Karina, why don't you go get your clothes fluff and folded? Why don't you get a housekeeper?" And I'm like, because I'm single, like I should be able to do this. And here I am, stressed, overworked, not sleeping, again, an actor's, an artist's life, and not making a lot of money. I'm like, but it costs so much money. And she's like, "Karina, like your dad never knew. I was getting the clothes dry cleaned and hanging it up in the closet. And he would think I spent the time going to work, taking care of 3 kids, cooking breakfast, lunch, and dinner, cleaning the house, and still starching his, dress shirts. He thought I did that." And so she kind of like let me peek into her quiet world of some secrets that I thought my mom is a superwoman. I don't know how the hell she does do all this, I'm tired just thinking with help.
With help. There's nothing wrong
But
with
nothing
that.
wrong with help. But because it was done in the quiet, I never knew she had help.
But we talk to a lot of our friends, and we tell them like, "Hey, we have a personal assistant.
Mhm.
We have a personal assistant. We have multiple assistants at the office. We have a chef, or we have a meal prep company. We have a housekeeper who comes multiple days a week. We have
help.
We tell people that
Instacart groceries.
yeah.
I like
A lot of women look at us though like, "You do what?
oh my God, that's so expensive." Is it though? Is the extra hour that I would have to just be at home doing whatever I want to do?
Or more importantly, like, what does your husband think about that?
Oh yeah,
Whoa.
I've got that a lot.
Yeah.
Is he okay with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to make more money.
We need to make more money. We need to, or whatever we're doing with that time. If it's just an hour where I can just sit there and Instagram scroll or just sleep or whatever, that's equally valuable to me.
Right.
And the flip side of that, what also kind of started helping me accept some of this help is I'm helping other people. I'm helping employ a housekeeper. I'm helping a small business with their meal prep services. Like when we start to think of ourselves as giving others a blessing or an opportunity, it does kind of help you accept and embrace.
Release some of that guilt.
Some of that guilt, that cultural guilt. I mean, the bottom line is, I think, just like you said, to recap, knowing who you are, what you stand for, having the communication and wherewithal to kind of find that person. There's someone for everybody.
Somebody for everybody. If you're like, hey, I'm a guy and all I want to do is be a stay-at-home father, guess what? There is a woman out there right now who is working her ass off and she just wants to focus on a career. And she would love a husband who would have a family with her and not guilt her for pursuing her
wanting
career
to be successful.
and wanting to be successful and stay at home with the kids and help raise the kids. There is a woman out there. You need to find that woman.
And there is, fellas, there are women out there who want to be stay-at-home housewives. Nothing wrong with that. You know, there's no shame in any of what you want is a thing. It's acceptable. It's valid. It's just finding the right person to do that type of life with and not being embarrassed, not trying to oversell yourself, not trying to misrepresent yourself to be something you're not.
Right.
You know?
So understanding who you are, having the conversations as far as
To
what
pick
your
the
life.
right person.
Yep. Making sure that you're picking that right person.
And
that
then
goes along with your
communicating.
plan. Communicating with that. And then deciding what's best ultimately for the unit.
For the unit.
I think that is such a big thing when it comes to understanding roles and defining, roles in a household, is understanding our North Star vision. Where are we going? And let's start mapping out how we're going to get there. It's not going to always be me. And there's also subsets of leading. While I make a lot of the big decisions for our family, there are so many things that I will just say, babe, you just decide. You decide those things. Or there's things that she has to have the autonomy, even on big decisions, to just make the decision, because that's what it may have a time commitment. She may have to step in and lead in that moment, and I have to be able to trust. And then also I think about it like this: as the leader of my family, did I marry a woman that if I build up all this with wealth, this life that we're building, if I'm a hunter-gatherer and I'm able to kill 100 lions, do I have a woman who is strong enough to sustain that once I leave? And I think every man should think about things like that. So that's how, you're a couple moves away from being able to define I guess the point of this entire conversation, you can correct me, is you define the rules and who is the role, who is the lead.
You decide your
gender
life.
roles. You get to decide.
You decide what your life looks like.
Yeah.
And I think the more you are open about that, and vocal about that, the more you will find somebody, you will attract the right person to do it with.
Yep.
To do life with.
You have questions this week?
I only had one question.
You suck.
I know.
Make up some other ones.
What am I going to ask you? I know a lot about you.
So did I.
Okay, so Jay started this, what'd you call him?
I don't know.
I don't know. Start putting questions in a bowl or something.
I know we should. We started doing this thing at the end of the episodes where you would ask me random questions. Yeah. And I thought of one this past week. Name a time where a woman deeply rejected you and it left a mark.
Deeply rejected me?
She just just dissed you and it left a mark.
And it left a mark. A woman deeply rejected me.
See, that's what I was waiting for. Is me. Like me? Yeah, you. I'm sure at some point someone rejected you.
They left a mark. None that left a mark.
None of them stung.
None of them stung.
You weren't like, damn, she got away.
No. All the ones I really wanted, I've gotten.
Wow.
Shout out to the universe. I guess. Any of the ones I really, really wanted that I'm like, yo, I've had some that I've loved and lost.
Okay.
I've had some that I've loved and lost. I've had one. Here's one. You want me to give you a good one?
Oh, yeah.
I had one that I fell in love with when I first met you.
Okay.
Yeah. I had realized it later on, but I realized I made the right decision anyway.
Oh, wow.
So you and I were just barely starting to talk, and I was seeing somebody else before. And Not psychopath.
Oh, okay. Because
Not
I was
psycho-
like, because she was
no.
a crazy bitch. I'm
Not
like,
psychopath. It was someone else.
I was about to get alarmed. I was about to be
And-
concerned.
No,
Okay.
no. It was someone else. And I for a second there, I was like, damn, I think I was in love with her.
Mm.
And but I realized that I had, at the time you and I had started getting serious. So I was like, I cared enough about her to tell her, hey, you know what? Like, I'm getting serious with this person. And she was super cool because her and I's thing was never like a let's get together thing. It was like a let's hook up. And we hooked up and became super close.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were like, I still think to this day, I still think that had I have chosen that, my life would have still been calm and peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
But I told, and this is like maybe most guys you may get killed for saying something like this to your wife.
I was about to say, hold on, so you was talking to the bitch?
No.
Hold up.
Her eyes went from this and it
I was
started-
like, hold up.
Lucky enough, I still have an amazing wife. But I realized later on I had made the right decision for me because
Mhm.
what aligned in my life is what I have now.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I guess, is an example of something I loved and lost.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't necessarily reject me though. I haven't really had one that's been rejected. That's crazy.
That's crazy,
That's
actually.
crazy.
No one's ever.
I mean,
told
I've
you
been
no or
I've been
turned you
told
down.
no. I've been told no, but no. I mean, most times it was just from chicks that I wanted to just hit,
Yeah.
not like nobody I wanted to like
Guy
really-
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went
Just
through this
knocking
slut
out
phase
numbers.
where I was like, after my ex-wife, and I tried to knock down a couple of her best friends just to get back at her, and I did get a couple, but I won't ever rub that in her face. But there was a few that I was like, damn, if I'd have just got her. But
that doesn't count because that was more of a notch. You
yeah,
were,
like I said,
you're
it
trying
never,
to, yeah.
it never, none of those ever stung.
They never stung. Yeah,
They
yeah.
never stung. They weren't like, it wasn't like a, and if you're our girl, please don't be some girl who I was fine back in the day and now you're fat and ugly and you're going to come on and be like, I remember when I rejected you. And I'm like, ooh, you did? Damn. Don't do that. Don't do that. But yeah. And there's a couple that just maybe, I don't know, just never was making the time for or something like that. Have you ever been shot down by somebody you really wanted?
Fuck yeah.
Damn.
Like, I think it's a normal part of life.
As a
right.
woman?
Yeah.
That's whack.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah. Well, also, I think it's because I grew up different, Jay. I told you I was an ugly duckling,
Yeah.
you know, and I was.
this is back when you was ugly.
Well, no, I didn't at the
When you
time.
was a
No,
duckling.
no. Looking back on it, I actually wasn't. I thought I was the cutest. I was the thinnest. But I still didn't have the esteem.
Oh,
You know?
So
So
you,
I-
in your head, you were still what you.
I was still what I was before.
girl
I
with
was
the
still the
unibrow.
ugly. Yes, with the braces and the mustache and the yeah,
I would
I
have
was
shot your ass down too.
round, brown, and furry. I really was round, brown, and furry. So, but when I kind of came into my own, again, like we carry a lot of shit. So I was new to the country. I'm trying to assimilate. I didn't really have my again, my dad loves me, but never heard like you're beautiful or proud of you. I was never built up within my home. So, and I didn't have the tools to build me up. So apparently I had morphed into something else and I had not yet realized it. So I remember literally kind of like shooting my shot. I have no problem walking up to somebody. And
Now y'all
I literally did not. I did not.
Story. You just heard her say.
With this gentleman, I had known him been around him for some time,
Uh-huh.
and I asked him. I was like, "Hey, listen, like just flat out, like I think you're pretty cool. You're attractive, and I was wondering if we can go have lunch or dinner.
said
if you're,
that?
I did.
That took some cojones.
I've always been kind of outspoken and ballsy.
And what did he say? Go fuck off?
No, he actually said, no, he said, he didn't. So here's the thing, because, I'm an overthinker. I'm an over analytical person. He didn't say he would have said yes. He just said, I'm kind of seeing someone. And I kind of similar to you. Like I'm seeing someone and, it's not the good time. I don't think he
Shout out
was.
to that guy for.
You think he was?
I don't think he was seeing anyone.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
Damn, he just wasn't feeling
He
it.
just wasn't feeling it.
Well, you fucked up now, buddy. So, anyways, wow, that's
Yeah,
cool.
That's
Okay, I got another question for you.
These are very safe spaces. As you can see, I have
Yeah,
not.
me and
I
my
have
wife talk
not.
about. Yeah, me and my wife talk about almost everything. That's one of the beauty.
Yeah.
That's one of the beauties in our relationship. I feel like we could talk about damn near anything.
But that's also, I want to point that out. Like, even though, I'm not going to lie, it had a little reaction when he said there was a girl, but you don't act on these things. You have to make him feel safe.
And then you kill him later.
and then you're saying,
Cameras off.
right. And then, no, but it's true. We talked a lot about a lot of things. But,
Because it's real life.
and it's who we are or were at one point, and it's brought us here. And I would rather get to know a lot of how he thinks and how he works. And, we're going to we've decided we're it.
Yeah,
We're gonna
that's it.
die together. So it's like,
Yeah. So if you were one of those chicks and you start dropping, I saw him, blah, blah. Okay, guess what? I'm still gonna be married tomorrow.
and
the
I'll
day
be
after.
like, thumbs up, like,
Okay, but I have
tag
a
a
question.
friend, share the video.
I have a question for you.
Okay, go.
Okay, you have a best friend,
Mm-hmm.
and your best friend is cheating on her husband.
Okay.
Okay, this is not for real. So
No, I know.
Best friend, please, your husband, don't kill the best friend.
Right. None of my
But you
best
ha-
friends. Right.
You have a best friend. She's cheating on her husband.
Mm-hmm.
You find out that the husband is also cheating back.
Ooh.
Now, do you tell your best friend or do you stay out of it? I don't even think I had to tell you that the wife was cheating. Let's just fuck it. She's not cheating. You know that she's cheating. She's cheating.
Because it makes it more juicy.
It makes it a little bit more, like, it makes it a little more controversial. Do you tell your best friend that her husband is cheating if you know she's also cheating?
I have questions.
No questions. You gotta say yes or no.
Fuck.
You can start going after that.
Do I tell her that I found out he's cheating, even though I know she's cheating?
Correct.
Yeah.
Fuck it, huh?
Fuck yeah.
Gang. I'll make the rules to this gang shit.
I just, you know what I'm saying? Loyalty. Yeah, but okay, yes, I would. I
Yes.
would. Just girl code. I gotta let you know, especially because now it's in the streets. Now it's messy. If I could see it, somebody else could see it. I'd rather it be me than some stranger or somebody trying to be ugly with my girl. So I'd rather be me, kind of deliver this news. Number one. Number two, please believe I would have got on her ass over her own actions way before that happened.
Yeah.
Because I value marriage.
Wait, your homegirl cheating, you'll call her out about it?
Fuck yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Fuck yeah. I like you, like,
A lot of
It's-
women won't.
I
They'll just say
will.
it's like my best friend, so
if
she's-
you're my
she's
best,
happy.
no, fuck that. No, because it never ends well. It never ends well.
You're gonna give Matt a lot of after editing.
I'm sorry. I cuss a
Beep,
lot.
beep, beep, beep.
I'm sorry.
That's good. That's good. It makes it funnier.
I cuss a lot. But my people know me. Y'all follow me. Y'all know me. It's nothing new. But I should probably chill out for the baby. I should probably chill out. No, I would definitely tell my girl about her dude, and I would definitely, but I would have already been told her. If she had enough trust in me to confide in me, hey, I'm doing X, Y, and Z, or I'm kind of creeping around and doing da. I would have been like, yo, I don't want no parts of that. Like, because if it comes back to me, I'm a very truthful person. I'm gonna stay quiet, plead the fifth, and that's gonna be enough admission to go, oh, you knew. I just don't think there's blessings in that. If you are unhappy in your relationship, figure it out or leave.
We're gonna talk about that one in another episode.
Another episode. But yes, I would have. What about you? Same circumstance.
Nah, I mean, I'm telling my homie. Yeah, I'm telling my homie. But what you were just saying?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, I'm not. But if like my homie is cheating and his girl is cheating,
And you
if
find
my
out
homie's cheating and
he's
his
cheating,
girl's cheating,
and then you find out the girl's cheating too.
I literally just had this conversation with a friend of ours. I said, listen, I know that my friend is cheating, right? She's well aware that her spouse is also cheating, right?
Mhm.
And we were talking, and I said, I'm gonna be honest with you. I know he's cheating. You know he's cheating. I'm not his daddy, right?
Yeah.
So what can I do?
Right.
But if I saw her out in public, I would still call my homie and be like, yo, you want me to go fuck this dude up? Or like, what do you want me to do? Like, what do you want me to do?
What? He's cheating too.
Gang shit, bro. I'll make the rules to this shit.
Oh, really? So back on my corner, back on my side of the table, if I seen him out with old girl and I start banging on old girl and
Hey.
doing videos and shit,
You don't make the rules to this gang shit.
see, and I guess that's how I wouldn't move around
Nah,
it.
I'm calling my homie like, yo, you want me to smash him out or what do you want me to
See,
do?
I'm not about to fight
You want me to hold him till you get
little
here, or-
hood rat side bitch. I'm not doing that.
I'm doing it.
But I will take a picture, snip, and send it to my girlfriend and go, hey, just so you know.
Nah, yo, we going to jail tonight or what we doing?
Yeah, no.
We taking your car or mine?
Not doing that.
But on the flip side of that, I don't think a lot of men hold their friends accountable to cheating. I
No.
do.
Yeah.
Any of my friends that have gone through that would gladly vouch. Even some of them have gotten away with it. Would tell that if they could speak, they would tell you. I've told them, yo, man, that shit ain't cool. Only because of my own experiences.
Mm-hmm.
I have not been perfect, and sometimes I tell them like, yo, you moving weak, or you know what I'm saying, like you got to make sure you're protecting home. And I don't think a lot of men do that with their male friends.
This is definitely a different conversation because we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
There's some things I actually agree. I agree that if somebody knows, don't tell me. You know what I'm saying? That's a different topic. But the other thing I want to just point out here though is I feel like our friends individually because of who we are. If you're going to call them out, it's with love, without judgment. Like you said, I'm not your mama. I'm not God. I'm not here to persecute you or judge you, but I am going to call you out and go, yo, you are tripping. You have a family, you have, this is a marriage. So, and I've also been in a position where I'm like, don't involve me in the shit. I know what's going on. I'm here if you need me. You use me as a soundboard. I'll help you, if you want to ask questions and want to vent a little bit, but don't bring me into your drama.
Yeah. Yeah. And then on the other side, I think I'm the same loyalty, but on the other side of that coin, I think I've told people before, listen, if you call me and Matt's my homie and me and Matt are out hanging and Matt got his side chick, which he doesn't have. So if his wife sees this, please do not.
No, he does not
please do
have.
not
This is a
slit
hypothetical
Matt's
scenario. It is
throat.
make
I'm just
believe.
saying
Do
if
not
me
for
and-
real
me
kill
and Matt
him.
haven't even been out together, to be honest with you.
Do not for real kill him. It's
But
make believe.
Yes, but if me and Matt is out and Matt got his side chick with him, I may tell Matt, yo, Matt, like you tripping, like you got a family, blah, 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 blah. But if his wife came to ask me, I would look her right in her face and say, Matt was with me and me alone.
At Bible study.
At Bible study.
At Bible
But
study.
guess what though? I'm honest about that too because I don't believe in lying like that.
Yeah.
So
Guess who can't shoot the podcast anymore?
I will tell someone to their face. I've told my friend, I'm going to lie to you, so don't even ask me. Because what you're gonna get is a lie. So I'm really telling you the truth right now that you're gonna get lied to if there is a lie to tell. So now you don't know if it's a lie or the truth because I'm gonna tell you, Matt was with me at Bible study, and then after that we went for froyo, and we went home. And that's why we got home at 4 a.m. because we couldn't find a froyo place that was open at 2 a.m. So we just drove all around Texas 3 times.
And he actually didn't even make it home because his car broke down. And then
I'm like, Matt's right here right now.
He was
He's
froyo
drunk.
wasted,
You
so
want me to-
he's on my couch.
I'll try to wake him up. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good one.
That's a good
We'll
one.
make that another future
episode.
topic.
Yeah.
For sure.
Hey, listen, man, we thank you guys so much for rocking with us. This is our first couple episodes, and we're just starting to get warm a little bit, but there are so many more topics to talk about. I know that most of you guys follow us for financial things. We have some great financial conversations we have coming up. I have a couple special guests that we're going to be shooting coming up in like less than a month, right? And so I'm talking about some powerful couples, some great financial gurus. And if that's what you're here for, stay locked in. If you follow us because of logistics, we'll be talking about our logistics journeys coming up. We'll be talking about how we got into that. I think a lot of people think that I'm not one of those Instagram people. We're going to have an entire episode. Or actually, no, we're going to shoot that right now.
Oh, okay. Yep.
End of the Instagram
Guru. Yeah. And
So-
then some of you guys, from what I got, the feedback is you guys follow us because you like our dynamic. You have questions as to how we work together so well, how we are able to build an empire and still have fun together. And everyone says, it looks like you like each other. Well, we actually do.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes.
for whatever...
I pissed her off right before the podcast.
He did. But for whatever the reason that you're here, we're glad you're here. We are very multi-dimensional people. We're not just one lane, one topic. So hopefully you guys are able to take something from any of these conversations.
But anything that you guys would love to hear us speak on, please do me a favor. I want you to like, subscribe, and then drop your comment below and tell us what you would like us to talk about. We're open to talking about, we're open to talk about damn near anything. So
Pretty much.
feel free to drop a comment in the section. Until next time, you're only a couple moves away from understanding which role you need to play in your relationship. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you guys next week. Peace and love.
Hasta luego.